Hi Nidhi.
Hi, Kashif.
Hi. So welcome to the today's podcast. So it's really a big honor to host you. And
Thank you.
today's session is on the fireflies. So I think in today's time you're the best person to speak on fireflies. So
Thank you so
starting
much.
with your introduction, Dr. Nidhi is an excellent wildlife conservationist and an entomologist, and she has spent past years in studying the ecology of fireflies. And alongside this, she has also been spending her time in working with the local communities to spread awareness on fireflies, that why ecologically they matter and what is their ecological importance. So, Nidhi, please, if you can briefly introduce yourself and tell us how your ecological research, your wildlife conservation journey started.
Okay. So first of all, thank you, Kashif, for
Most
having
welcome.
me on this podcast.
We are
And
honored. Yeah.
yeah, so I, my journey, or if I started myself, introducing myself. So hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Nidhi Rana. I completed my PhD on fireflies in Doon Valley. So initially, I started working from Doon Valley only, but then later on, I extended my work to different regions like Mussoorie and Chakrata Forest Division. And then recently, I have completed a project in bordering villages of Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve in Chamoli district. Apart from this, my research journey, currently I am working with the Corbett Foundation, Ramnagar. There I am seeing the aspects or different aspects of human-wildlife conflict and the ways how we can provide sustainable livelihood opportunities to different communities. Yes. So as you have asked me to tell you about my journey, so basically my research, wildlife research and conservation journey started with fireflies only. I started my PhD, but that time I wasn't sure that I am going to work on fireflies. But as I got fireflies onto my hands, that okay, this is my topic, and now I'm going to work on it. I started reading more about fireflies. I started, reading more about their ecology, about their habitat preferences, about their status around the world. And and also when I, went to field, when it was my first year on field, and I was, I think myself as fortunate that I came to see fireflies in the wild, which I think most of the people haven't that experience. So seeing fireflies in the wild, in the dark, I think that's the most fascinating experience one can have. So that's how my field work, it makes me keep me more interested in this fireflies, and that's how I developed more interest on fireflies and towards their wildlife research and the aspects of conservation.
So it's really inspiring to know about your journey, how you started.
Thank
So,
you.
Nidhi, we have always been hearing, like, when we talk about the researchers, we have been seeing the elephant researchers, the tiger researcher, rhino researcher. But it's very odd to, I mean, know when you talk about the wildlife and see fireflies. So, how did you come into the firefly research? I mean, we really like to know that how the idea of firefly came up into your mind.
Okay. So if I tell you that how I came up with Firefly, so basically, actually, it's a bit of a story. It's very
Mhm.
interesting story. So when I registered for PhD, basically back in 2019, so you know that we have this pre-course work, like 6 months, I completed my pre-course work, and then I got my result in Feb 2020. And as we all know, that pandemic hit us, right? It was pandemic, it was lockdown all over. So during that time, I was figuring out that on what topic I should do my PhD because I was confused. One thing I was sure about that I have to do my PhD in entomology, but there was this confusion within me that क्या मेरा टॉपिक होने वाला है मैं किस पे काम करने वाली हूँ So during that lockdown period, I was contacting different scientists, different professors, and I was, asking them so that I can come up with an idea. So during that time, one of my friends suggested me that why don't you go meet Dr. VP Onyal at Wildlife Institute of India. So I was like, okay. So when this lockdown lifted, so I remember the date, it was 10th July 2020, when I finally went to meet Dr. Onyal. And because I had some topics in my mind that time, so I went to him and he asked me that if you have something, just let's discuss it. So I just discussed one or two topics with him. So he just asked me that, do you have any funding, beta? Right? Because what you are saying, what you want to work on requires lots of funds.
Once, yeah.
Yes. So are you working on a project or do you have any project? So I was like, no, I don't have any right now. So he was like, he was smiled and he was like, oh, beta, to ye to nahi ho payega fir. So फिर I was like, okay. Then he was the one who suggested me, why don't you work on fireflies? Fireflies पे किसी ने काम नहीं किया है, बहुत कम काम है इंडिया में fireflies पे. So why don't you start the work and why don't you take the lead? And I was like, okay. At that particular moment, I was like calculating. Fireflies, okay, entomology to hai, insects hai. But one thing that I, still roaming around my mind, it was like, यार nocturnal है, रात में कैसे होगा? अब
Mm,
मुझे अकेले जाना पड़ेगा because it's we have leopard, we have bears, we have
exactly.
elephants in our forest.
Yeah.
So I was scared at that
How will
moment.
I manage all these things?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I told sir कि सर ठीक है मैं रेडी हूँ बट सर थोड़ा ये प्रॉब्लम है दैट रात में कैसे जंगल में एंड यू हैव मेट उनियाल सर राइट
Yes, absolutely.
yes yes so I mean Unyal sir I mean he's one of a personality that he's so energetic he has so enthusiasm
Yes, the energy
right
flows on his face. Yeah, I mean, it's
Exactly. His
wonderful
aura
thing.
is totally different. He
Yeah.
was like, कैसे नहीं होगा तुमसे मेरी स्टूडेंट वहां चमोली में गुफाओं में जाके काम कर रही है और तुम यहाँ नहीं कर पाओगे बेटा सब 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 हो जाएगा
Yeah.
so so he encouraged me so I was like okay sir मैं करूंगी so that's how I got fireflies into my hand
Wow.
so it's totally I mean he
It's
is
a
the
different
person
story.
behind
Yeah.
Yes, he is the person behind this. He motivated me that you have to do it. You can do it. You can work on Fireflies. So I was like, okay, that's how I got Fireflies.
Such an amazing story
Yeah,
that how you started up. Yeah, it's really
yeah,
amazing to know. So,
yeah, yeah,
was it? Yeah, please continue. I want to say
yeah.
something.
Actually, it's I was very fortunate that I got supervisor like Dr. VP
Mhm.
Onyal because it's
Absolutely.
really yeah because while you are doing PhD, it's really very important that you have someone who can supervise you, who can mentor you very well. So he's been there for me on for this study.
You're absolutely lucky to
Yeah.
be under the supervision of Dr. V.P. Uniyal because when I met him in Bhopal and you were also there, I mean, he's so helpful
Yes.
teacher, I would say. Yeah, he's a real meaning of a teacher. So, starting up, so when was the time when you realized that fireflies are not getting that much attention or scientific intervention it needed? So, was it before you started the topic or later on when you started studying about the species?
Actually, when I got the topic, when I started reading about fireflies, there was very
Mhm.
limited literature available, especially in the context of India. Because all over the world, there are different scientists, there are different researchers who are studying fireflies. But especially in India, I really got very little literature available there is. So that's how I, get to know that, okay, it is very important to study further on these particular beetles. Yeah.
So it's really a wonderful thing. And between all these things, I would first ask you about the firefly because we have been, I mean, hearing about the firefly as jugnu, an insect that produces light. So there are a lot of poems, literature available on this jugnu producing light. So I would want to know that how does it produce light? What is the phenomenon behind all this?
Okay. So, फायरफ्लाइज बेसिकली जुगनू जो होता है उसके जो एब्डोमेन एरिया है ना
Hmm.
कि so they have this enzyme, particular enzyme called luciferase.
Yeah.
That luciferase, there is this substrate called luciferin. So when this luciferase enzyme and luciferin came in contact with this magnesium ions, ATP, and also they require oxygen. So when all of this get together, there is this chemical reaction that happens in the abdomen of fireflies. Okay, so the bioluminescence that fireflies produce, it's because of this chemical reaction.
Hmm.
And one more thing that I would like to tell you is it is very interesting that तुम्हें पता होगा like जो भी हमारे यहाँ पर lights होते हैं, bulbs होते हैं, they produce lights and they release some of the heat, right? Some form of
Yeah.
energy. तो
Hmm.
वो हीट के फॉर्म में रिलीज करते
Yes.
हैं बट इट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग दैट फायरफ्लाइज जो लाइट प्रोड्यूस करते हैं इट इज कॉल्ड एज कोल्ड लाइट वो पूरा 100% जो होता है पूरा यूज करते हैं उस रिएक्शन का एंड देर इज नथिंग रिलीज्ड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ हीट दैट्स व्हाई द लाइट दैट फायरफ्लाइज प्रोड्यूस्ड इज कॉल्ड एज कोल्ड लाइट
Or light.
या
So that's really incredible to know about fireflies.
यस
So in India, where do we commonly find fireflies, and which kind of habitat do they prefer? Because it's I mean, to conserve a species we should first know where do they belong, and later on then we can start conservation practices on them. So India, where do we see them, and are there only one species or different species of fireflies in India, and which habitat do they prefer here?
ओके So first I will start with Doon Valley where I have
Mhm.
studied fireflies. So from Doon Valley we have documented six different species and all over India nowadays particularly there are lots of researches happening and lots of firefly species and genuses have been identified. So now it is very nice to see that people or researchers are doing research on fireflies all over the world. Till now, there are 2,200 species that have
Oh.
been identified. Yes, and I think many more to go.
Mm.
And if I ask the question about habitat preferences, so fireflies mostly prefer habitat which are, devoid of pollutions, mainly which have this moist conditions near water and vegetation full of good vegetation around them. And in India particularly, there are very good abundance of fireflies in Maharashtra, in Gujarat, in our northeast India, and also in Uttarakhand. We have very good abundance of fireflies. And I would like to tell you one more thing that in Maharashtra, there is this region called Foreshwari, where people used to, take trackers and peoples from all other regions to just to show them fireflies around the
Oh.
track. And people used to go there just to see fireflies, thousands of fireflies
Can
flashing
be
around.
like ecotourism.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
ecotourism. Yeah.
Hmm.
But sometimes this kind of tourism also affects fireflies negatively because they don't know how to, control, how to do the ecotourism in a controlled manner,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So,
true.
yeah, if we can do it in a controlled manner, then it would be really great. And we can also, just spread it over other regions also.
That's really true. I
Yeah.
mean, that's really incredible to know about the fireflies, like the habitat preferences, and amazing to know that there are so many species of fireflies present. And we just know as Jugnu, and the rest. I mean, we do not know much about fireflies. So you have been working on fireflies in past few years. So you must be coming up from the field with so many experiences. So, could you tell or share any one experience that is memorable and will remain lifetime memorable to you?
Yes, actually, there are few experiences I have, but there is this one memorable experiences that I have. So it was like the World Firefly Day, 2022, I guess. So I and Dr. Onyal are few friends. We have been to, we have just organized a watch in Asharodi Forest Range, and we all were there. Some foresters were there also. So it was drizzling, it was dark, and it was windy. So it was a bit of a setup. And then, you just see thousands of fireflies
Oh,
flying
wow.
around you. And
Wow.
you can only imagine that it was lit dark and it was drizzling around and it was windy. And then you see thousands of fireflies flying around you. It was really, I mean, it was a bit of experience. Like it was really fascinating. So that was one memorable moment that I have with myself. And I believe if you ask Dr. Onyal also, he will,
It
tell
really
you,
would be
he will tell you the
because
same. Yes.
I also remember when you were delivering on the fireflies in Bhopal, you showed us a video where there were so many fireflies. So
Yes,
was it the
yes, yes.
same one?
Actually, there was in the video there was this clip from the forest range, and there are all other clips from different regions.
Acha, wow. It was
Yes.
really incredible to see those fire because I haven't seen, I mean, those cluster of fireflies in my life. Yet we see people saying that in our childhood हम जहाँ जाते थे हम खेत पे जाते थे वहां पे जाते थे हम इतने fireflies देखते थे पर आज
बिल्कुल.
firefly बिल्कुल कहीं पे नहीं दिखता है. So is it really true? I mean, is firefly population really declining or it's the same as it was before?
सो एक्चुअली जैसा अभी तुमने बोला है आपने कि कभी किसी बच्चे से पूछते हैं, सो इट्स द सेम वेन एवर वी वेंट टू फील्ड. हम अगर किसी से भी बात करते हैं और उनसे सिर्फ अगर एक ही क्वेश्चन पूछें कि आपको क्या लगता है, मतलब अभी जुगनू आपको कितना दिख रहे हैं, देन पहले कितना दिख रहे थे, तो दे वर लाइक कि हाँ हमको पहले बहुत दिखते थे एंड अभी जो है अभी तो बहुत कम हो गए हैं दिखना. सो इट वाज बहुत ही ज्यादा क्लियर है, बहुत प्रोमिनेंट है कि ठीक है फायरफ्लाइज का पॉपुलेशन इज डिक्लाइनिंग. सो इट इज ट्रू दैट फायरफ्लाइज
Is
पॉपुलेशन
it
इज
just
डिक्लाइनिंग. Yes,
okay? So
it is
it's true. I mean,
declining.
there's no
It's
doubt
true.
on it.
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
because we
there's no
have
doubt.
been listening and hearing from different people of different age groups कि हम अपने बचपन में firefly देखते थे पर आज बहुत ही कम हो गए हैं because so what could be the reasons behind this decline and what threats do they face at this I mean current point of time? What threats do they face that there is so much of decline in the number?
Okay. So there is no single threat that they are facing right now. There are multiple. So first of all, the major threat that firefly is facing is the nightlight pollution. And from nightlight, I mean the street light mainly. You know, अभी स्ट्रीट लाइट्स जो हैं पहले उतना नहीं थी, कहीं कहीं पर अवेलेबल थी, बट ठीक है अभी जो स्ट्रीट लाइट्स है दे हैव गॉन इनटू द फॉरेस्ट.
Oh,
अभी वहां तक वो स्ट्रीट लाइट्स चली गई हैं.
true.
एंड हाउ स्ट्रीट लाइट्स आर अफेक्टिंग फायरफ्लाइज पॉपुलेशन इज, you know fireflies generally flash to, to just to attract their mate. And beneath those street lights, even we cannot see the fireflies. So how those small creatures were able to see each other, right? So it is very difficult to see each others, for male and female to see each other. And that's how the street lights are, hindering for their
The
reproductive process.
communication.
Yes,
Yeah.
communication and their reproductive process.
Hmm.
And if they cannot see each other, then the reproduction wouldn't happen. And then the egg laying, the next generation won't come into life, right? So that's how the streetlight is affecting or threatening fireflies population. And the other threats that fireflies is facing is the use of pesticides, right? The
Yeah.
habitat fragmentation.
Hmm.
And I would like to say habitat fragmentation, not only fireflies, I think most of the wildlife is facing threat
Yes, that's
due to habitat
yeah most
fragmentation, right?
common
Yes,
threat
it's the
now.
most common threat
Yeah. Hmm.
for all wildlife
Yes.
population, right? Yes. So these are
So
the
this
main
is the
threats.
main threats.
Yes,
I mean, on the name of mere development, the light can
exactly.
be the, I mean, the primary threat for the fireflies. So it's really
Exactly.
disheartening to
Yes.
know that we are now entering the forest areas with those lightings and all. So you have been working with the communities as well. So, do communities play any role in conservation of fireflies, or have you seen any incidents where communities have direct role on conservation of fireflies?
So I think that the communities do have an important role to play for fireflies population, fireflies, this declining. So communities play a very important role in their conservation.
Hmm.
But there is the gap and knowledge gap
Knowledge
that
gap, yes.
yes, like community को पता ही नहीं है that other than flashing, other than producing light, what fireflies do for our environment.
True.
And that is why we have been organizing so many workshops, so many conservational workshops for community so that they came to know, they know that, okay, fireflies do these things also for our environment and how important they are for our environment. And if you see that communities are working for, they weren't, they were not doing or working towards conservation, but now people are starting doing or working towards their conservation step by step as they got to know that okay, fireflies are doing this for our environment. So in our workshops mainly we used to tell them that okay, you what you can do to conserve them. So they started doing, and some of them are texting me, or some of them when I go back to field, some of them told me or tell me that okay, we close the lights, or we not अब हम लोग नहीं कर रहे हैं,
Hmm.
unnecessary lights जो है वो लोग नहीं कर रहे हैं, अब लोग नहीं जला रहे हैं. So yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, by
So, I
fulfilling
mean,
this knowledge gap, I
mhm.
think we can
Communities has
work.
have a
Yeah, we
role.
can. Yes.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little ecological significance of those fireflies, or if they are some species are indicators of a ecosystem, of a healthy ecosystem? So is it in case of fireflies also, and what is their ecological importance if a common man has to understand?
Okay. So fireflies basically are very important for our environment. Okay.
Hmm.
First of all, they are very good bioindicators of a healthier environment.
Okay.
If you are seeing fireflies around you, that means the environment, the ecosystem you have around you is free of pollution, because
True.
fireflies are very sensitive to pollution. They are very sensitive to temperature change. So if you seeing fireflies around you, that means you have your environment or you have your ecosystem intact. Other than this, fireflies larvae, because fireflies have four life stages.
Hmm.
So the larval stage of fireflies are very good biocontrol agents, because what fireflies larvae do, they used to feed on our garden pests, the snails, slugs, and other small
Yes.
invertebrates we see in our gardens. Fireflies larvae naturally predate on them. That's how we can use or we can decrease the use of pesticides in our gardens. So they act as biocontrol agents, bioindicators, and also very important thing that fireflies have is there. I told you about the enzyme luciferase, right? So
Yes.
fireflies luciferase has been used, or the scientists have been using it on bio uh, sciences, right? Because luciferase is used to track the tumor inside bodies.
Hmm.
So scientists have been doing work on this particular enzyme, and that's how fireflies become very important, right?
So, I mean, the importance is, I think, it remains largely overlooked by the people because
Yes.
they do not know much about fireflies. So, I hope that people know about fireflies. So, what three simple things could you recommend to the local communities they should follow to conserve firefly?
So as I told you about the threats that fireflies is facing, so
Hmm.
I think if we start working towards them, like if we, if we just off the unnecessary lights in our home. Actually, what I would like to say is it's not like अगर हम सभी एक साथ करने लगा है, but if we
Hmm.
start working from our homes only, okay?
Yes.
अगर हम अपने ही घरों से start करें, and if we, you know, close all the unnecessary lights, letting up our verandas, our fields,
It
then
will make a difference.
yes, it will make a difference. And also, this is about the light, right? And if we decrease the use of pesticides in our fields,
Hmm.
so actually, how pesticides are affecting fireflies is it's very important to understand how pesticides are affecting
Yes.
fireflies first of all. So as I told you that fireflies have four life stages. So the larval stage is the longest life stage in fireflies' life. In this stage, fireflies live up to 1 to 2 years, and particularly the larvae stayed in the soil under the leaf litters. So if we are using excessive pesticides, those are ultimately going into the soil, right? And that's
Absolutely.
how, yeah, and that's how the pesticides in the soil is hampering the development of the larva.
So
And
this
that's,
is
yeah,
how
this,
pesticide is
yeah,
severely impacting firefly
fireflies,
alongside, light pollution.
light pollution, right?
So these are the basic practices communities can follow, like stop
Yes.
using pesticides or stop using the lights unnecessarily in the
Unnecessary
evening.
light.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so you have told about the threats, but like as a researcher, what are the challenges that you face while working for the fireflies in India? So, what are those few challenges that you face?
So basically, not much or not very,
Mhm.
big challenges that I have faced. But yeah, there were few, like as I told you, that there was very limited literature available on fireflies in aspect of Indian, Indian region only. So yeah, so there were very handfuls of literature available. And the main challenge that I have faced were in the field mainly
Yeah, because you
because
have to go in the night time and look
night
for the
time, yes,
fireflies.
exact
Yeah.
night time, exactly. So,
Hmm.
because it was my first day in the field, and I was, just sampling around, and the forester, he just shouted my name, and he just called me that, "Ma'am, please, idhar aa jao aap." And I was like, "What happened?" So he told me that, "Are you hearing this voice?" I was like, "हाँ, आ तो रही है आवाज." So he was like, "It's leopard." तो मैंने कभी लेपर्ड को सुना ही नहीं था कि वो बोलता कैसे है,
Yeah.
राइट? तो ही वाज लाइक इट्स लेपर्ड, तो अभी आप यहीं रहो। तो आई गॉट वेरी स्कैर्ड कि ठीक है, इतना पास से आवाज आ रही है। सो दैट वाज वन थिंग। एंड इसी तरीके से व्हेन वी यूज्ड टू गो टू फील्ड, तो हम लोग अपने फॉरेस्टर को जो हमारे साथ जाते थे, तो उनको पहले कॉल कर देते कि ठीक है, अभी आज हम इस साइट पे जाएंगे। So one day I just called him and I just told him that we will go to this village only. So he was like, no, no, ma'am, हम वहां तो जा नहीं सकते हैं क्योंकि वहां पर हाथी ने एक 18 साल के गुज्जर के लड़के को मार
Oh.
दिया है। एंड आई सो इस तरीके के केसेस हुए हैं काफी, बिकॉज मॉनसून वो सीजन, पीक सीजन होता है
Yes.
थोड़ा ये सारी एक्टिविटीज का, तो ये सारे चैलेंजेस जो थे फील्ड के चैलेंजेस, ये हमने फेस किए हैं काफी।
So I hope you have not turned nocturnal while
No,
working on the fireflies.
no.
So because you have so many amazing stories from the field, from
Yes.
your research experience, so we can hear a lot from you. But finally, I would like you to give a small message to our viewers or those who are going to view it afterwards. What message do you give them for the conservation of fireflies?
Okay. So, one thing that I would like to tell our viewers is like, as human beings, we have the upper hand on any other species. We have the ability to think, we have the ability to understand, right? So it's very important that it lands on our shoulder that it is our responsibility to conserve other species as well. It's not like we are just thinking about ourselves and doing, development. In the name of development, we have been destroying the habitats for different animals.
It's true.
उनके, yes, उनके घरों को हम, हमारे लिए जो डेवलपमेंट है, वो उनके लिए उनका घर
Destruction.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल डिस्ट्रक्शन है, उनके
Hmm.
घरों का डिस्ट्रक्शन है। So it's just my message that if we came together, if we think like it's our responsibility to conserve other species as well, then, in the perspective of fireflies, we can do only one thing, which I have told you earlier, that reduce the use of night lights, unnecessary lights, reduce the use of pesticides. And if you want your future generation or forthcoming generation to see those magical beetles or flashing beetles in the wild, we must do these practices so that our future generation can see them in the wild and not only in the textbooks, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, I mean, wonderful and important message for those who intend to listen and then understand, because we are rapidly losing the species at this point of time. So, thank you very much for joining this session, Nidhi. It was really amazing and beautiful to listening to you, your research experience, your field experience, and we wish you all the best. That you carry forward your work and continue to work for the fireflies, for wildlife, and at the same time, I hope that different NGOs, government, communities wake up and uh, I mean, dedicate themselves to the conservation of fireflies, and it comes into the people's vision that I mean, it's going unnoticed. Like we are, nobody is bothered to, I mean, understand that fireflies are increasingly declining. So I
Yes.
hope your work continues, and we wish you all the best for your work. And thank you once again for joining us. It was really
Thank
amazing
you.
to hearing from you, Nidhi.
Thanks to you, Kasif.
You're
I
most
mean, and
welcome.
I would like to congratulate you and your team from, providing such an amazing platform to
Thank
share
you.
these kind
Thank you
of
very much. I
information.
mean, we need storytellers like you, because it's really honor always to know from researchers and storytellers like you. Thank you very much, Nidhi.
Thank you so much, Kasif. Thank you once
Thank
again.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye. Good
Okay,
night.
bye bye. Good night.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.